here we are with the Tuesday evening edition of the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast video. This afternoon, yeah, it was breezy out there, and that made it feel cooler than it actually was, but boy, the sunshine felt nice, and temperatures got into the middle 40s, somewhere where we have not been for quite some time, a little over a month. We had some clouds this morning on this time-lapse video from Columbiana, but right on schedule, the sun started to break out in the afternoon, and actually it turned out to be a completely sunny end to the afternoon, featuring a fantastic sunset out there this evening. I'll post a couple of time lapses on social media of our sunset this evening, so look for that on Facebook and on Twitter. All right, it wasn't that long ago that we had snowpack all the way down into central and southern Texas and near the Gulf Coast, but since then, of course, the pattern started to change, and so the snow has retreated, and it's pretty much along and south of the I-70 corridor, where you'll find snow at this point. And this map, of course, is going to change even more over the next few days with a lot of melting going on with this pattern change that is underway. All right, today we are up to almost exactly, 11 hours worth of daylight. We're coming up that side of the mountain here, and of course, we're gaining daylight at a pretty fast rate right now, well over 2.5 minutes of daylight per day being gained, and we're only a few weeks away from daylight saving time returning, I believe on the 14th of March. So a little over 11 hours of daylight. That's an hour and 40 minutes or so, more daylight than we had at the start of astronomical winter. And you know, when we have snow on the ground and the sun is out at this time of the year, especially if it, of course, gets above freezing, it can make a big difference. The sun angle is increasing fairly rapidly. In early January, the sun angle at solar noon, in other words, the point of the day in which the sun is highest in the sky, 26 degrees, not very high. But now in late February, we're up closer to 40 degrees above the horizon, which is about as strong as the sun is in mid-October. The sun angle and the strength of the sun, if you will, on February 23rd is as strong as October 18th. So we're getting into the time of the year, and I mentioned this a few times, in which we talk more and more about the increasing sun angle and the impact that has on days in which it is snowing during the daylight hours, and of course the impact it has on the melting of the snow and ice pack and local glaciers that we still have as a result of the sloppy mess that we had last week. Not much going on across the country this evening. It is a fairly quiet weather evening, and you know, it's remarkable. It was not that long ago that parts of Texas, as I mentioned, were in that horrendous situation with the snow and ice and power issues, and they're still suffering down there, but at least the weather is changing rapidly. Dallas was below zero a week ago, and this afternoon they got into the upper 70s and lower 80s. The cold, no surprise, has retreated some into Canada. Still plenty of cold air in the pattern up in the northern latitudes, but it's going to stay in the northern latitudes, it looks like, for a while. Some of it's going to come into the western U.S., but the eastern U.S. does not look very cold compared to the average anytime real soon. All right, on Wednesday, I think we're going to have the warmest day of the year so far, and the warmest day in exactly 2 months. It's been since Christmas Eve, since we were in the 50s. Clouds will increase. Again, small chance for a shower or a sprinkle as we get into the afternoon. I suspect the higher chances are as you get closer to Pittsburgh and Morgantown and heading down into the panhandle of Maryland as well. Around here, spritz, sprinkle, that'll be about it. Now, in the wake of this front, it is going to be a noticeable change at the end of the week. Compared to where we've been, though, this is still not bad. It's going to be kind of like it was today. Some sunshine, temperatures getting into the lower 40s Thursday and into Friday as high pressure pays us a visit. We have no accumulating snow in this forecast through the end of February, which, believe it or not, the end of February is at the end of this upcoming weekend. And we have no accumulating snow expected, I think, at least through the first handful of days of March. Last March, we put up a goose egg. 0 accumulating snow last March. Now, I don't think we're going to do that again this March. That would be pretty remarkable. A snowless March is very unusual. 17.4% of our annual snowfall occurs in March. It's our 4th snowiest month of the year. But again, at least through the first handful of days, we are looking primarily snow-free. And I mentioned this last evening on Weather Geeks that I do think that the mild pattern will stick around through at least the first week of March. There may be some colder things to come in the second week of March, but through at least the first week of March, we're going to get a much-deserved break from the wintry weather. And you know, once we get past that first week of March and start getting deeper into March, it gets harder and harder for us to have sustained cold and prolonged wintry weather. It can happen, but it gets harder and harder, of course, as we go deeper into the third month of the year. Thanks for watching tonight's weather for Weather Geeks. I'll see you back here same time, same place on Wednesday.